there was a stag do going on, and it was quite loud, and they were all dressed as minions, and it all got a little bit crazy. And I did hear some people retching this morning. It went pretty hardcore, I think. Last night's sleep wasn't the very best, but it was a pretty comfortable bed, and it was very cheap, so I'm happy about that. I'm looking at my bike, it's just over there, and I'm gonna be hitting the road today. I'm about 2.5 hours from Calais. I was thinking of doing Dunkirk, but I think it's quite historically significant. I don't want to just kind of rock up there and do a 20-minute tour around the main bits, you know, that just seems a little bit wrong. I think I'm gonna leave that trip to kind of a World War II northern coastline sightseeing trip at some other point. It kind of belongs in that, I think. I really don't want to go to significant places and not give them the ample amount of time that's needed. A bit disrespectful. So I'm going to take my time here a little bit before I leave. I'm going to pack up the bike. I might take a little ride around in Bruges, or Bruges, so I was told last night, is the Flemish way of saying it, and then Bruges is the kind of more common way of saying it. But anyway, I'm gonna get packed up, I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna get over to Calais. The Channel crossing is at about 1:30 today, so I've got loads of time. It's just mad how close this is to the UK. You're really not far away at all. And one of the things I noticed, the difference between France and Belgium, literally everybody speaks pretty much fluent English here, whereas in France, they really don't. And even the young people in France, quite a lot of them didn't speak any English when I was there. And I think that's completely fine. Actually, I have quite a lot of respect for that. But here in Bruges, it was, everybody. You didn't have to worry about whether you're going to be understood or not. It was like, really, really good English. So just an observation. I'm going to write a little bit in my notebook, and then I'm going to start packing up and getting ready to move out. I do feel like when you're kind of in Europe and you park up your bike, it just feels a little bit safer than in the UK. I feel like you can kind of just park it up anywhere and no one's going to mess with it. Quite paranoid about that when I rode down to Turkey. Everywhere I parked, I was like, oh no, stuff is going to get nicked. But I just see bikes parked everywhere with panniers on. Who does anything with them? So I think you can kind of chill out a bit more in Europe than you can maybe in the UK, or maybe I'm overthinking it in the UK as well, that it's not actually that bad. But I feel like everything's going to get nicked if I don't kind of lock it up properly. But another gorgeous day. We're going to have a little trip through town before heading off to Calais. I've actually got a GoPro recording out the back as well. This is fun, isn't it? New angles for new subscribers. No. And instead of mounting it on my helmet, I've put this one on the handlebars at the front so that my head's not turning all the time and you can kind of see what's coming towards you. So we are going through Bruges, Bruges, whatever they call it. It's a beautiful place. Let's not knock that. My gosh, I am definitely coming back here, and I'm bringing Lillian because she will love it. She will absolutely love this place. I've literally just scratched the surface of what Bruges has to offer. And I'm told by a friend of mine that they deliver the beer to the bars through pipes under the ground directly from the beer factories. Now, I don't know if that's true. He's told me that. I'm kind of thinking it probably is. I imagine that that's kind of information that he would know about. So here we go. Maybe I should put it on my helmet, I don't know, because you're not seeing the water as I'm going over these bridges. But anyway, we can't be too long before we head off to Calais. But just so you get a little snippet of Bruges. here was the Italian restaurant that I ate at last night. Just in there, right there, that one. Very nice, brilliant pizza. Well, it's another beautiful day for riding. I couldn't have been more blessed with the weather than I have been. It's really warm. Should I get fuel now? Nah, I'll wait a bit. And I'm just leaving Bruges now, heading back towards France. There is something about the freedom of just being able to get onto a motorcycle. Just ride wherever you want, really. I do have a few thoughts on kind of future trips and stuff, because I do have the tendency to take a little bit too much stuff with me. At this time, obviously, I didn't use the tent at all this time, so I didn't need to bring that and any of the other kind of paraphernalia involved in that, but we'll have a run through of all of that at a later date or later on, because I think probably the ideal way to travel would be literally with what you can get in a backpack, be strapped to the side of the bike as a pannier, because I don't really like wearing backpacks when I'm riding. We'll do a little chat about that later on, and you can put your thoughts in the comments below, but I'll kind of spell out what I think is the bare minimum of what you need to have with you if you're just going to take a spin. Maybe you could have like a bug out bag ready in your garage with everything that you'd ever need, so that if at the very last minute you find that you can go on a quick motorcycle tour, all you got to do is put your backpack on and off you go. That sounds like a good plan, doesn't it? Right, I've just hit the French border and I've almost missed it, so I'm just going to go back and relive this moment. This is kind of important, crossing borders, you know. So here we go. Let's do this again. There it is. Hello, France. There's just absolutely no ceremony crossing the border between France and Belgium. It's like, yeah, whatever. Off we go again, through the tunnel in the tunnel. Quickly stopped to get a coffee in Bracknell, so I'm about
I'm about 90 miles from home. Man, the traffic is mental in the UK compared to the continent. Obviously, if you get around Paris, you're going to get a lot of traffic there too, but the M25 really is quite bonkers. It really is bonkers. So I'll be glad to get on to the rather pedestrian M4 in comparison and get myself home. Just the traffic in general, it's just so much more busy here in the UK than on the continent. I'm coming from Belgium where there was barely anything on the roads to this. It's crazy. But hey, I'm home, almost. Riding home is never as exciting as riding away from home, is it? When you're on your way somewhere, it's just kind of you're filled with excitement about getting there and crossing the channel and getting onto those French roads, and then coming back you're like, looking forward to seeing the family though. That'd be lovely. Right, everyone's shouting at each other at this petrol station. Don't know what's going on. I love bus lanes. Oh yeah, beautiful bus lanes. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hot, trafficated city. Just works for me every time.
Thanks so much for following me on this little kind of random trip I did to France and over into Belgium. It was a real breath of fresh air actually to get over there, and it just kind of proved to me how easy it is just to get on your bike, get on the Channel Tunnel and get over to France, and then you've got these beautiful roads that can just take you anywhere. That was so exciting, and I'm actually going back again next month with my brother. We're doing a trip together, so I'll be filming some of that. But a couple of things about the trip. So one of the things that I took with me that I didn't use was obviously the wingman of the road. My plan was to camp. I didn't do any research whatsoever. So when I got over there, I found out that none of the campsites were open, and I kind of would just have to rough camp, a wild camp. It was really cold the first night, so that would have been uncomfortable. But as you saw, I met Fred on the campsite, and he sorted me out. And then I realized that actually it was pretty much just as cheap to book myself into cheap places this time of the year. And it meant that I could just put my stuff somewhere and be able to roam around towns and cities without having to worry about what was happening with my kit or with the bike or anything like that, which was great. And that leads me on to something else. So I have these Kappa Rambler bags that I use all the time, my pannier bags that go on the bike. When I got back from the trip, I decided that actually I would like to have something a little bit simpler. So I talked about it on the ride a little bit, like a bug out bag. So you got a bag you can just chuck your stuff into and put it on the side of the bike like a pannier. But when you take it off, you can use it as a rucksack. Now, I haven't actually seen that many things that are designed for that. So I went down to my local army surplus store and I picked up this amazing kind of day bag. It's like a navy day bag. They were having a closing down sale, so I picked it up for 10 quid. So it's the ideal thing because I can just put it on the side of the bike and unclip it and then chuck it onto my shoulder, and then I can just walk off with it, and there's no need to worry about kind of leaving kit and stuff on the bike. So the way that I've done it is with these bungee cords. So I've got one strapped, they're really kind of hefty bungee cords, got one strapped around holding it over the top of the seat, and then another one that goes onto the pannier rack and just makes sure it stays stable. So that is the setup that I'm going to use when I go down to France again next month. And I think it will be just perfect because it just means that I don't have to take, when I'm not going to take the tent, which we're not going to on the trip down next month, we're going to stay in B&Bs and stuff like that because we can share a room, and it means that we're paying about 20 euros each a night, which is basically what you would pay on a campsite. So we decided to do it that way because it ends up being the same price really, and it's just a little bit more of the creature comforts. We don't need to take as much stuff with us. So I've got the one bag with me on the way down. Now, I've never traveled this light before, so I don't know what it feels like. Every time I go on touring things, I've got the wingman on the road, I've got the panniers. There's about 25 kilos of stuff, probably a little bit more actually in total, that goes on the back of the bike. And now I'm getting that down to probably under 10 kilos in total. And it's just so convenient. Just unclip it, chuck it on my shoulder, walk around a town with it, or put it into a luggage storage somewhere, or whatever I need to do. And inside that bag, I'll obviously have my little shoulder bag to be able to put my cameras in and things like that. And basically all that's going to be in the bag is a load of kind of clothes anyway. So if somebody wanted to nick it, they wouldn't find anything too spectacular apart from some underpants, some socks, and a few t-shirts. So that brings me on to what am I going to take and what am I actually going to put in the bag when I go down next month? Well, I'm thinking that all I really need is a couple of pairs of boxer shorts, maybe 3 pairs. We're going for 4 nights, maybe 4 pairs, maybe 5. You can turn them inside out, can't you? A few pairs of socks, a few t-shirts, my toiletries. I might take a couple of tools, obviously some camera gear and equipment like that. I mean, there's really not that much you need to take. So if you can strap the bag to the bike somehow, then I think you're onto a bit of a winner, and this seems to work perfectly. So another really positive thing from this trip that came about was starting to do some journaling again. Obviously, because of the things that have happened over the last kind of 6 months with my dad getting so ill and passing away and us caring for him for such a long time, you don't realize how kind of tired you are, and you don't realize how emotionally drained you are, and you just carry on because you know, there's a job to do, there's a task to do, and that is looking after somebody, and there's obviously a right time to do that. But being able to take some time out, sit down and journal how I'm feeling about stuff, how I'm feeling about what's happened, how I'm feeling about the future, was so helpful for me. Really, really helpful. I didn't need to kind of spend hours a day doing it. I was spending maybe like 10, 15 minutes in the morning, and maybe a little bit of time in the evening if I felt like it, just kind of documenting how I'm doing. And I've just found that really, really good for me to do. And I've been carrying on doing it every day since, and I think I will carry on doing it, but it's certainly been beneficial. I do recommend it. So I've been in touch with a few subscribers since the trip, and some of you told me about apps and stuff that you can use that help you journal and kind of point you in the right direction. You know, questions to ask yourself and all that kind of stuff. And I think, you know, we learn these skills, don't we? They're actually skills, learning to have good mental health, learning to take care of yourself. It is actually a skill, and it's something we need to learn sometimes and put time and energy into staying healthy mentally and processing things properly. So get yourself a journal. Just go and get yourself a book from somewhere and just start writing in it. It's been really good for me. Recommend it for you guys too. So my lads have been telling me that I'm supposed to be asking people to like and subscribe. Now, I haven't really done it before, but I will this time. And I might carry on doing it because by liking and subscribing, it means that we get to connect. And if there's one thing that I've enjoyed about this channel more than anything else, that is just connecting with people like you that have similar interests, going through similar stuff, or just love the idea of connecting with other guys that are into bikes or might not be into bikes. The channel's not just about motorcycles, it's about all sorts of stuff. Like and subscribe, and I look forward to connecting with you. Speak soon.